Well, hello there. Welcome. Pull up a chair and I'll tell you about the show. This is Untameable. And it's for you if you're a no bullshit kind of person and you are done with constantly having to prove yourself, jump through other people's hoops and please them, and you want to experience the freedom and the power of living in the fullness of who you really are and who you want to be. I'm Hayley, your host. I'm a confidence and empowerment coach, a professionally trained actor, and a pole dancing potty mouth pom residing here in Australia. And I created the Untameable show as a place for candid, vulnerable, and at times risque conversation on all things empowered living and expression. This is where we challenge conditioning and the status quo, and where we step into the joy, the passion, and the power of our truth. Because let's face it, life is too short, so fuck playing small and fuck apologising for who you are. So if this sounds like exactly the kind of thing that is right up your alley, grab a chair, make a cuppa, and enjoy.
My performance was never an issue. He actually told me he tried to get me on my performance.
It's even more frustrating. The anger bubbling in my body right now.
Well, it frustrated me because I'm like, well, hang on a minute. You're telling me you're deliberately going out of your way to upset me, to get me out of my role, because there would have been another strategic reason for wanting to move people around and move them out. And it was all about money. It would have been because, they probably did want to get rid of people or restructure, which I would have been fine with if they were just upfront about it.
Yes, some honesty.
Yes, some honesty. So, but what happened was my belief is that they tried to restructure with the least amount of money. So anyone they could get it rid of without having to make redundant was going to be easy. So the easiest targets were the mums and anyone who asked for part-time, because anyone who asked for part-time in our office only got it for, as I said, sort of that 12-month period. But then they made it really difficult for people to stay on. And this is an organisation that said it had work-life balance and they offered all these things. And to me, the way I saw it was that only special people got that treatment. And it was, you had to be the person that sucked up to your boss or, had it in good with the CEO, or perhaps you had something over the CEO, because I have noticed that some people that are still there and I know they know things and it's like, well, they're probably still there for that reason. How did those people who never, who, didn't do as much or weren't as good at their jobs manage to hang on to their jobs, whereas people who were like myself and several others, we had some really great project managers who used to get shit done. And I'm like, why are they gone? Why are they gone? Aren't they the people you want to get the stuff done for the public so that I don't get it. So it's very much a boys' club or a club where it's very nepotistic or, where, you have to know the right people. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't network as part of your strategy or anything like that, but because, that is part of the strategy, but it was not with the right people. And I found it offensive on behalf of everybody out there that there are people in there that think it's okay to sit at, I had an older gentleman in our office who used to sleep at his desk and no one used to say anything to him. And if me and another colleague used to talk about it, we'd get gossiped about because, he was a male and I was a female. So, of course, what was going on between us? I know, it was horrendous. It was a really toxic place to work. And something that I've really discovered now in my journey, in my business, is how unempowering women can be to women in the corporate or working sector. What I found being an entrepreneur is that there's a lot more of us championing each other, if we're in the same industry, doing the same or similar things. But I've just found that I had other women undermining me and, because some wanted my job. The lady I was job sharing with undermined me deliberately and told people I was leaving before I got there. so there was bullying behavior from her as well.
Yeah. I imagine, Athena, how much of that kind of behavior is modeling of the culture and the environment that they're in. That it's like, well, this is how I get ahead here. I have no other options and no other choice. I have to play the game. And this sort of speaks to what I've been immersing myself in more recently in the last few months of women in the last 50 or so years have learned to play the game in a system we didn't create. But then we've gone, well, this system's fucked up and we can see we can do so much better. But there are still so many people out there trying to play this same old game. So I wonder if that's more of a reflection of what is going on in the bigger environment and the lack of support around what are our values here, how do we show up for each other here, like what conversations are going on. It sounds like there was no conversation going on. This is everything we stand against. We hate it. We hate
well
that
it's
shit.
you're absolutely right. It's absolutely a reflection of society and the way that it's been running. But what I've actually been pleased to see is some of that change. And like we said probably before we got on, around even just looking at what's happened in our federal elections more recently,
Which is very
is that
exciting.
it was totally, and what astounded me was, the ability for women to unite.
Yeah.
Each of them were in different electorates, but had a common purpose to elevate women, elevate, diverse communities that were not being represented at, with the other parties that were there. And I was so thrilled to see that through, the collective, that we didn't just let it, we've only got two choices. I was glad to see that we had more than those choices. I was glad to see women actually use their voice and actually tell it like it is. Like I'm a politics nerd, which is why the public sector suits me so well. But I, paid attention to what was being written about these women. I paid attention to how debates went when these, I looked at the media and I thought, this is disgusting. Like some of the stuff and this is not just on this occasion, this is just any time a woman is in a leadership position is, like I said to you, will either, someone will say she's sleeping with someone in the office, or they'll drag her down, or she's being a bitch,
or comment on her appearance.
That's right. Or the only person I had in my office that was in a leadership position was actually someone I did mentoring with at work, and she was incredible. And my first impression of her back when I was at work was initially, oh, you're putting me with her. But then when I got to know her, I thought, this woman is the nicest woman. You know what? Fuck her. She's actually she's getting the stuff done, and she was so good. I had never seen, and she was our IT manager, and I had never seen our IT work as well as it did, like when she was there. And she was fair. She was firm, but she was fair. But she was a really beautiful human as well. But because, sort of those things went around the office and everyone said this and that, she was one of the few that was on that leadership team at the time, and it was rare to see a woman, particularly in IT, managing, at the senior levels in this organisation. And it was always the men. I mean, even in my department, we had a female manager, and because none of the other men liked her, or for whatever other reasons, there's probably other reasons I didn't know about, but she left. She's gone on to do wonderful things in her career elsewhere. But what I found, because I was also working in a very male-dominated department, the women were always just doing the admin type jobs, because apparently that's all we were good at. And the men were doing all the high-level paid management jobs, telling us what to do all day, which is fine because it was our job. But we basically did everything but didn't get paid for it, if I really think about it. And this is what also irritates me about, and when I started my entrepreneurial career, I started as a virtual assistant. So I started, tinkering with, what could I do? Maybe I'll just do what I did at work. And then I thought, I went through a few phases and I thought, you know what? I hate being called an assistant. Fuck the patriarchy. I don't want to be called a goddamn assistant. I don't assist. I freaking manage. I manage this shit. I do not assist you. I manage it. Why can't I get paid as a manager? Because that's actually what I do, right?
What a great episode. Wasn't it awesome? I trust you got heaps of gold out of that one and that you enjoyed the tips. Do let me know how you go with those, by the way. Hit me up with a DM on Instagram at all lowercase letters, _embodied_woman. I'll pop it in the show notes with everything else. Subscribe if you love us, rave about us to others, and leave us a review anywhere you want, really, so more humans can benefit from these important, powerful conversations that we are having. We're trying to start a movement here. #Untameable, #fuck playing small, and we'd love for you to be a part of it. And if you might perchance like to be on this end of the screen or the airwaves, depending if you're listening or watching, with me, and you've got a story to tell or something important to share around what we're all about here at Untameable, then you can apply to be a guest. Yes, just check the show notes. As I said, everything is there. So until next time, beautiful, take care and enjoy the rest of your day.